burned all night. Security service drones caused a hellish explosion at the artillery and mortar depots near the village of Markino in the temporarily occupied territory of the Donetsk region. The warehouses stored thousands of munitions for infantry fighting vehicles, tanks, anti-tank guided missiles, mines, grenades, and millions of rounds of various calibers.
Judging by the detonation and the consequences of the explosions, it is about destruction. One of the largest setbacks due to conflicts within the Russian occupation army. Apparently, the security service tracked the logistics supply routes of the occupation troops, and at the point of maximum accumulation, the strike was carried out at this warehouse.
Meanwhile, North Korean troops that the DPRK dictator Kim Jong-un sent to Russia to participate in the war against Ukraine have already suffered losses. Ukrainian military published photos and videos of dead Russian and North Korean soldiers in the Kursk region after Saturday's assaults. This concerns at least 30 North Korean soldiers killed and wounded.
By Total.
They are effectively used as disposable soldiers, fully understanding the problems of the language barrier, the lack of horizontal connections, and the layered nature of the Ukrainian defense forces. Plus, accordingly, the capabilities of the Ukrainian defenders from being preemptively struck using both means of attack and accordingly activation.
According to the main Directorate of Intelligence of Ukraine, the North Korean troops have irrecoverable and sanitary losses as well as missing persons. That is to say, the North Korean troops have become cannon fodder that the Russian army is using in infantry attacks in the Kursk region. Due to the losses, the assault groups are being reinforced with new North Korean military personnel.
On the territory of the Russian Federation, including the Kursk region, there are up to 12,000 military personnel in the case of North Korea. Therefore, accordingly, the loss in the amount of 30,000. The number of people is insignificant given the total number of military personnel of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. Accordingly, there will be replenishments of personnel and further utilization of the military personnel of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea directly in combat operations on the territory of Kursk region.
And while the DPRK troops are filling the ranks of the Russian army, there are fewer Kadyrovtsi. North Korean soldiers opened friendly fire on the Ahmad battalion.
According to reports from GUR, about 8 personnel were eliminated. This indicates that there are no horizontal connections and no interaction at the unit level. This all leads accordingly to significant losses among personnel and raises questions about the further deployment of Syrian and North Korean military personnel directly in combat or on the territory of Kurshina or Kubi.
Russians have problems not only with the North Korean military, who are not skilled at fighting and have a language barrier, but also with the ammunition supplied by Kim Jong-un to Putin. The quality of North Korean weapons leaves much to be desired. Their shells have low accuracy and often cause artillery malfunctions.
It should be mentioned that the artillery shells transferred to the DPRK are from long-term storage depots. There is such a concept. Categories of storage for artillery shells. The first category is accordingly 100% efficiency. Then come the second and third categories. Judging by the number mentioned by Western intelligence communities, and accordingly by the Ukrainian intelligence community, it is several million shells. The military-industrial complex of North Korea is not capable of producing such a quantity of artillery shells. This means that these shells were supplied from long-term storage warehouses.
Where are the occupiers using North Korean munitions? What is happening on Kursk? Can Russia deploy North Korean troops on other parts of the front in the future? Watch right now.
The fourth large-scale offensive wave began in the Kursk region. Similar waves occur once every 3 months, but this time North Koreans also came to help Russia. And how do they manage
Things are stagnant.
Heavy fighting in the Mali-Laknia area. Moreover, the so-called wave-like nature of the attack is ongoing. Ukraine's defense forces rely on doors of non-engineering fortification structures that were built using federal and local budgets.
And were captured by
Due to a brilliant offensive operation by the defenders, further advancement of the Russian occupiers has slowed.
As for Russia's goals in the Kursk region, they are not surprising.
The main task of the occupiers is to try to push back the Ukrainian armed forces units before the inauguration in Trump. The strategic task of the Russian troops is reaching the administrative borders of the Russian Federation and pushing the Ukrainian defense units out of the territory of the Russian Federation.
North Korean military could lose 4% of their numbers in a single battle in the Kursk region. Forbes reports this.
These are the so-called local assaults, meaning, once again, the use of tactics by Russian troops during the breakthrough moment against the opposition of the armed forces of Ukraine. Numerical advantage is created on a narrow section of the front, specifically to break through defensive positions.
Military observer David X, analyzing the level of losses among North Korean soldiers, notes that they attacked during the day, marching on foot across mines under the watchful eye of Ukrainian drones. The North Koreans came under fire not only from drones but also artillery. Is this really the Kremlin's strategy?
In fact, it was about clearing Ukrainian minefields at the expense of North Korean soldiers. According to the main intelligence directorate of the Ministry of Defense, there are verified data on the loss of around 30 North Korean soldiers.
Is this the Kremlin's strategy or not? But the fact that they don't care about people is already known. But here is a new argument. Volodymyr Zelensky stated that Russian military marked the faces of deceased North Korean soldiers who participated in battles against Ukrainian forces. Hide their losses.
Absolutely unsurprising. It is a common practice, so to speak, to underreport the level of losses. These are either missing in action or accordingly impossible to identify. It allows Russian troops accordingly to underreport casualty statistics and avoid paying and combat-related, respectively, compensation payouts due to injuries or death of military personnel.
And in the meantime, Rangers from the 4th and 8th Regiments of the Special Operations Forces of the Armed Forces of Ukraine showed how they destroyed a platoon of Russians in Kursk Oblast on their own territory.
A platoon of enemy infantry on 3 BTR-82s attempted to storm our positions in Kursk. All enemies were destroyed along with their equipment. The operators had pre-mined the area and with coordinated direct action, FPV drones and UAV drops successfully neutralized the enemy.
The second, in terms of the number of combat engagements after Kuchina, are the Lyman and Siversk directions. How are things there now?
The Siversk direction is an attempt to create an operational encirclement in the Siversk area and accordingly to address the issue of reaching the administrative borders of Luhansk region. Heavy fighting in the area of Belogorovka, but due to the landscape there and the fact that this direction hosts some of the most combat-ready units of the armed forces, there is virtually no advancement of the occupants. Moreover, the defense forces of Ukraine are conducting a series of successful counterattacks.
Subtitles done by
The unpreparedness of North Korean soldiers for the modern realities of war has resulted in huge losses for them. Their participation in combat on Russia's side does not change the course of events, but merely underscores the brutality. Ukraine, meanwhile, continues to successfully repel attacks, demonstrating coordination and tactical superiority.